All right, so I want to continue on with my East Texas uh report, whatever you want to call it. Um, the very next place I went after all this, I had hiked after Tyler County, Polk County, and San Diego County, where I was completely controlled, and I believed that there was police officers that helped me exit the environment. I honestly do because they literally kept the individuals in San Diego County from leaving their neighborhood and then let me run out of the neighborhood in a way that I did not use a road. But well, anyway, so this is starting to get better now. All right, because this it starts to get a little better. So I hiked all the way down. Um, an individual that was on the work crew with me in Polk County. He was Billy Sellers. He uh, he was all right. He's all right. He's a manipulator, but he gotta be when you're living with these people like this. Well, he was living out in Montgomery County, and he had said that, hey, come. I have some work. Come down here, and we'll chill. We used to get messed up together, so yeah, just saying that as well. But well, anyway, so I get out there. I start doing some work for him. There's an old school bus driver. She gives us a job. Uh, she's pretty cool. Or not school bus driver or teacher. I don't know, but she does something with school. Um, well, anyway, so I'm out there hanging out for a while. Running amok, literally like living off the land. I only have a bicycle. And don't have a vehicle. This whole time I've never had a vehicle. Still to this day, I have not had a vehicle except for in Seattle. In Seattle, one of my best friends, Z let me use let me use one of his vehicles while I was out there. Um, Now, Montgomery County. So I'm over there. I'm hanging out in the neighborhood, meeting people, doing my thing. Excuse me, sorry, I just ate food. My throat's all scratchy, I guess. I don't know. So I go in Montgomery County, right? I'm biking down the road one day. I have substances on me. It's the middle of the night. I don't have a light on my bike. I get pulled over. Now, for some reason, instead of just riding off, I just stopped. I don't know why. I stopped. I let the cop come over to me. Let him search me. Went to jail. Now, when I'm in jail, I in a general population, and then they say, "Well, if you're a veteran, come and take this survey, and we'll check you out." Well, I wanted to get out of my cell, so I signed up to go take the veterans survey. Yeah, because I was in the Marines for a while, even though I had a BCD, bad conduct discharge for running away, I still went. You're gonna figure something out. Watch. Well, anyway, I still consider myself a veteran. They say once a Marine, always a Marine. I was in the Marines, so I go take this test, and then I find out there's a veterans pod. I'm like, okay, there's a veterans pod. I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna put in a request to go to the veterans pod. There's got to be better perks there, right? So I put in a request, and within a day, I get moved over to the veterans pod. Now, when I was in the veterans pod, things were awesome. They have counselors come in. They were doing gardening classes, and I paradoxed all my weed growing skills to and when I was living out in Tyler County, I had a weed grow, and I chopped it down before it ever produced buds because I was told law enforcement was going to come and take it. So I chopped it all down. So basically, I got all my experience growing hydroponic, but I never finished. I Every single time I ever grew marijuana in my life, I never ever ever got to smoke a bud from it. Not once. Not one good bud. No. I've grown one, two, three, 4 times, and one of them was like a full room grow. You can see it on my Instagram. If you go there, any one of my Instagrams, and I've already showed you my names on my Instagram through the past videos. But well, anyway, but I never produced bud on them, so I never got to do anything. So maybe one day I'll get to. So, um, anyway, I'm in Montgomery County. I get moved to the Veterans Pod. I meet a cool individual named Justin Young. And to this day, I consider Justin Young one of my good homies. Me and him have been learning magic together. I have never, ever, ever got an opportunity to hang out with him outside of jail. He was making music videos with rappers, and he got pulled over with fake drugs that they were used as props, and they put him in the Veterans Pod, and then they released him. Beyond my belief, I didn't believe him at first. I was like, no one comes to jail and like has fake drugs. But guess what? The test results came back and they were fake, and they released him from jail. But while we were there, he was my homie. And we took classes together. We had two counselors that would come in, and they like tag team and would split the room up into two. And they were like mandatory classes because it was a rehabilitation for jail. It wasn't just put you in jail, throw you in a cell, and put you next to another criminal so you could learn more criminal acts. No. They taught us gardening, they taught us home improvements, they taught us life coaching, all sorts of stuff. Well, I'm in there, and so we have like a little we what we do is like when we're not doing classes, we have a TV where we could we could watch movies and DVDs on. It's on a cart, like a wheelie cart. We have puzzles we could put together, so we're always putting together puzzles. Um we would get like extra perks, like for 4th of July we would get cake and stuff, and we would get in trouble because we would tell the rest of the jail and they would get all pissed off. We have uniforms with our triple pleat with like our lines in it and everything, and we would press our lines in, and we had actual uniforms that we wore, jailhouse uniforms, veteran uniforms. um and we had our own little like outdoor rec area. It was really cool. um so well, anyway, dude, these assholes keep making me fucking cough. They're making me cough. I'm just letting you know. All right. They're being pricks. It's Northampton County because they just found out that they just got rolled by me, and so they're all pissed the fuck off. That's why my probation officer was going like this on my nose. That's his fucking call sign. And if you want to look up my probation officer's call sign, you could go to my GAG 1 courtroom hearing in courtroom 8 in Northampton County, and go. It's on April 7th of 2022. If you go there and you look, while I was there, I was telepathically bitching at all of them because of all their poor performances. And you could see on camera how me and my probation officer were channeling back and forth. And that should tell you that my probation officer is on a telepathic fucking network. Okay? And that's how you know he's manipulating people. And yes, he was conspiring against me with Dennis fucking Gordon. Okay? I thought I'd put that out there since they're making me fucking cough the whole fucking time. Excuse my French, but it really gets me heated when they control my body movements and they control my throat. Because I've been doing these videos consecutively. What's it call it? Did I cough any of the other videos? No. All right. And another one is a GAG 2 hearing on 10/12/22, where my probation officer took me in there and he said I violated probation because he forcefully had me try to sign medical releases, and he also forcefully tried to have me take medication because they know my mind is a magician mind, and they tried to turn it off because I know all the dirt on them. So yeah, Matt, I'm not signing no fucking medical release anymore for you, and I'm not going to take any medication. I got my own fucking private health insurance, and I'm going to go to my own doctor, and I'm going to prove to you everything that you guys did wrong to me. And Alex Thomas, you better hope that you were manipulated. If not, you're losing your medical license. Now, going on with my fucking story, excuse my French, but Northampton County needs to stop controlling me. You see what they're doing? All right. My probation officer's super pissed right now because he knows he's going to lose his job. All right. So, I was in the veterans. I'm going to woosah, woosah. This is what they do to me. They induce anger in me, and they control me, and they think they're going to get away with it. So anyway, I'm in the veterans pod, and me and my homie Justin are going to go watch a video on the video wheelie cart, and the video was "What Dreams May Come" with Robin Williams, right? So we're sitting down, we're getting ready to watch it. Badass movie, by the way. It's about like the afterlife and like how everything goes, and Cuban Gooding Jr. is in it. Really good movie. So anyway, I go to open up the drawer underneath where all the videos are, and I find a book. And this book the name of the book is called "There Is a River" by Edgar Casey. And there's a note on it that says, "This book is here for a special person." And I immediately knew it was for me. Okay? So I took this book and I started reading it. And this book is about it's about like a early 1900s, right around the time of Tesla and stuff. This man, he would sit on his couch or sit in a chair, and his father would hypnotize him. And what would happen was, when his father would have him in hypnosis, his father would bring people into the environment and into the room, and he could tell the person exactly what was wrong with their body and exactly where to find the cure and how to administer the cure. And this is the early 1900s. And this is a well-known person. If you guys haven't heard of him, please go get this book and read it. I based all of my science off of this individual. This is one of the first individuals I began to channel in and out of time. And I'm going to go into how I started channeling things, and I'm going to go into theories and guaranteed science on how you can heal people with synthetic frequencies based off of other medical advances that I've also renamed in time with my name. I'll go into this later. And this is why I need to get rid of Northampton County, because they illegally put me in jail by controlling me to punch someone because they wanted to steal all my information for their own good. Alrighty. So I'm sitting down watching What Dreams May Come. I get Edgar Casey book. I start reading it. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Edgar Casey is beautiful. A beautiful mind. So is Tesla. I love Tesla too. If you think about it, if you could channel in and out of time with these frequencies, the Wycliffe Tower, if that's how you say it, the Tesla Tower, that is like your jump off point to go anywhere you want. If you could channel the Tesla and use his tower, you could channel anything. And like I said, when I start teaching you this magic or science, this pseudoscience, it's not pseudoscience, it's real science. And I'm going to develop it for you into real science, so it's not magic and you guys can understand it. But well, anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So then I also read a book called Ready Player One. And this is about a VR type of environment. And I've also been working on VR and Inception types of platforms, of gaming platforms. I believe possibly from Microsoft, maybe not. I'm not sure. Xbox is cool. But so yeah, I've been working on all this stuff, and this is why Northampton County put me in their fucking jail and tried to fucking steal all my fucking thoughts. Well, anyway, So, and also too, one of the counselors after this, so I read Ready Player One, and George Lucas had turned this movie into a film. Or no, was it? It's not Lucas. That's I'm using too much of the force right now. It's Spielberg. 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 Excuse my French. I apologize for the mistake. Spielberg had turned this into a film. And yes, you guys can see now on camera how Northampton County manipulates me because they're getting all pissed off. Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, there goes the cough again. God damn it. Gosh dang it. Um, and so they're trying to ruin my videos now, but I'm just gonna keep posting them because I don't give a crap. So now one of my counselors there, she had went to a weekend seminar for EMDR, and I'm always sitting in the front row. Us hippies know it as eye to eye medication, where we could pass information from our eyes to another. Okay? You could put bands of information that come out the cones and rods of your eyes, and you could pass it to another individual if you figure out how to do this. Okay? It's real science. It actually works. And you could heal people with this. You could pass messages with this. You could do all sorts of stuff with this. Think about it. Think about all the cool things you could do with this. All right. So anyway, so she just gets back from a seminar, and I'm sitting in the front row because I always sit in the front row, and she kind of picked out me and Justin, okay? Because me and Justin are always in a positive mood. We're always giving positive vibes, as long as no one's torturing us, and everything else, okay? So she looks at me in the eyes, and I said, "What is EMDR?" Because I didn't know. And she just looks at me and she goes, "Well, watch this." She didn't say watch this, but that's what her body language insinuated. And she looks me in the eyes, deep in the eyes, and her eyes get bug-eyed, like her pupils get big, and I could immediately feel something, and my pupils get big, and I've received information. I received something, okay? And Justin was close to me, and he also, I believe, received something. Okay, and then from here on out, the whole time that me and Justin talked to each other after our classwork and everything, we thought aliens were there and shit. Like I was like, dude, is there aliens here? Because like our minds were turned on, and they must have been synthetically boosting us with frequencies or something. And so I designed, my mind was so on fire, I designed a business of businesses. Okay? Because like I just kept thinking of more businesses and more businesses and more businesses and more businesses. And they were just so good. I kept writing them down and writing them down and writing them down. And my mother, she has this information. I mailed it to her. And she told me verbally that she has it, but I have yet to get it off her. And when I do, I will show you what it is. Um, and from here, I believe, you know, that the Veterans Pod was pulling me out of the funk that I was in and these other three counties that are adjacent to it: Tyler County, Polk County, and San Jacinto County. I believe that I don't know if they purposely use me, but I believe that I was used to investigate, like as like a shadow agent or a shadow recruit. And there's some weird shit that went on of how I entered the Marines as well. You see, I entered the Marines. I had a bad background when I entered the Marines. And when I entered the Marines, I had been living as a vagabond, homeless in my college town out in Murfreesboro. I had gotten some trouble, and so I had some stuff that was pending on my background. And so I went and I came back to Texas, and I was living out in Texas. And when I was living out in Texas, I decided I was going to go join the Air Force because I had a background. I originally went to college to fly airplanes as an aeronautical engineer. And so I went to fly airplanes, or I wanted to fly airplanes for the Air Force. But all the recruiter stations or offices are right next to each other. And when I went to go walk into the Air Force, my Marine Corps recruiter, he grabbed me real quick. I believe it was like Staff Sergeant Guidry or something. Well, anyway, so he sends me out to take the ASVAB or whatever, and it's like the placement test, and I scored very well on it. Um, he says that you don't score 100. The score I scored was a 71. And he says the score I scored, I can do anything I wanted in the Marines, anything at all. I could pick any job I wanted, anyone at all. So I picked avionics electronics. I thought it would be cool to build like the dashboards and understand the electronics. I already understood the instruments, the pedostatic instruments, the gyroscopic instruments, the electromagnetic instruments in the cockpit already because I already went to school for it. So I thought it would be really fucking cool. So, and then at the time I was smoking marijuana. So this individual, this recruiter, he took it out of his day. Every single day he would come pick me up and make me chug water and have me sit at the recruiter's office. He even let me sleep at his house, at his own personal house on nights, on certain nights, because my parents still didn't want me at their house because I was running amok and I was like, I was I was a wild party animal, even though I was a young kid. This was when I was like 21, 22 years old. Now, I believe that he was going to get a big sign-on bonus for sending me because I scored so high on my test. So what he did was I went and depped in where I took my test. I did all my physical and everything in downtown Houston. And then what happened was I was supposed to wait 3 months. 2 days later, I get a phone call. Yo, Chris, can you leave tomorrow? I'm like, what? I'm like, it's supposed to be 3 months. But I like this. I like this because my parents didn't want me at their house. And I kind of like squeezed my way into their household and I'm sleeping on their couch because what's it called? Because my mom is like stoked that I'm gonna go join the Marines. My dad hates it. My dad's like, oh fuck no, you do not need to join the Marines. But my mom's side of the family was all military, like her grandfather, her great grandfather, and her grandfather. So my mom was like, yeah, cool, go join the military and help you out. And long story short, I get put on a plane. I go out to MCRD San Diego. I get on the yellow footprints. I get yelled at, screamed at. I'm nervous I'm gonna fail the drug test because my fucking I mean my not my probation officer, my recruiting officer like literally like squeezed me through the drug test. Like he made it so I had to chug water every day and I did barely like he would have me pee in a cup every day until the line came through. And then they sent me on the plane, and I was worried in boot camp I was gonna fail for marijuana, even though I had not smoked any. Like I was worried, but really I needed a life change and I wanted it. So I went to boot camp. Everything was great. Um, that was all really, really, really good. And then guess what happened? I graduated boot camp, and my dad was happy, and my mom was happy, and everybody was happy. And then I came home for 35 days of what they call P-TAB because it was around the holidays. So since it was I graduate boot camp right before Christmas, right on my like right near my birthday, like I think it was like 2 days off. Um, I I what to call it? I got to I got to stay home for a while. And while I was home, like what they do is recruiter's assistant. So I go show up at the recruiter's office every day. And then I brought home these like sick ass Marine Corps sweatsuits that no one's ever seen before because me and some other Marines extracted them. We snuck out of our barracks and took them out of the storage unit, and I brought like 6 sets home for my recruiters and stuff. They loved it. They loved it. Well, anyway, and I also had a battle buddy named Daryl Youngers, and he was the shit. I joined it with him. He didn't know. He didn't know. He got sent off 2 days before, and I was like, man, this is the guy I was running PT with to do physical training for while they were detoxing me, and I wanted to go with him, and he got to go. So I signed up. I said, he's my battle buddy, and they made me go everywhere he went, and he like didn't even know I signed up to be his fucking battle buddy. But this is how Justin Young is to me with magic. Me and Justin Young, me and Justin Young both got this book at the same time, The Golden Dawn, 7th edition. I still have yet to get through the introduction because Northampton County has been postponing me. Every time I go to read a book, they mess with my mind and they don't let me read a book. So it's really stressful for me because I like to read, I like to journal. They don't let me read books. They don't let me journal. They don't let me do anything. Ever since I've been in Northampton County Jail, I've been tortured every single day since I got out of jail on my birthday. They released me as a sick birthday joke on my birthday in Northampton County Jail. So anyway, so, long story short, after that, I go to combat training back out in San Diego. That's where you guys seen some of the pictures with my rocket launcher and stuff. I had snuck my cell phone with me. You're not supposed to have a cell phone there. And I wanted to take pictures of all the guns and stuff. So I had it like in my flak jacket. And literally, I had like first person videos of me doing mount, moving on urban terrain where I'm clearing out buildings and stuff. It was really cool. If you go on my Facebook, you can probably find some of those videos. Um, they're there somewhere. And so then I get sent to Pensacola, Florida. And like I already said, I was just there partying because my schooling was 6 months behind. And I ended up running away from base with Kat. Kat, this girl Kat, this redheaded girl Kat. And I ran away from base with 2 other Marines. Now, see, this is where stuff starts to get a little fishy. It's because if they used me in East Texas, they used me here, they used me in Fort Payne, they used me in Tennessee, and I started my hike in Pensacola, Florida. Was this the Marines the whole time? When I was in boot camp, I was interviewed by a federal officer because they found out that my recruiter sent me to boot camp before my background check came back. That's why he sent me so soon. And I believe he sent me because he was going to get a big bonus because of my mind. But who knows? I do not know. It's like a big game of Guess Who and Clue. And now I have way other connections. But so what happens after I get kicked out of boot camp? Or well, let me go back real quick. So for a good 60 days, they had me remotely move and go with Kat and 2 other people to Mobile, Alabama. I got a little mobile, you know. Went to Mobile, Alabama, hung out at her apartment for a while. Could these Marines could have been testing me to see if they could control me like a puppet and put other Marines and a female in my environment that was sanctioned in to do this, and just testing their algorithms and seeing if they could use me as a shadow agent. I don't know for a fact yet. They haven't let themselves be clear. But we're going to go into some more things. All right. So after I get kicked out of the Marines, which I never signed any paperwork, they said I was too bad of a Marine and that they will mail me my paperwork later. At one point in time, 2 or 3 years down the road, they did send me a DD 214 with a bad conduct discharge on it. But hey, if I'm a shadow agent, they could very easily just send me a false piece of paper and know it's a false piece of paper, right? Since then, I cannot acquire this piece of paper. I don't know where it's at. It was saved on a Google account, an old Google account. Now, when I get out to San Diego, I'm living on the street as a vagabond. But every single person I'm around is of a higher stature, and they're all adopted kids and shit. It's really weird. So there's one adopted kid. He teaches me how to DJ. His dad on the platform Reason, right? He teaches me how to make beats. He teaches me to DJ. He teaches me the science behind um, all how to make a beat, which way to start. You start with your bass line first, and then you add in everything else. Um, this individual, I used to sleep in a tent in his backyard, and his father uh, uh, is is supposedly one of the owners or the CEO or one of the directors of the biggest tuna company in the world. And then another friend of mine that I was friends with, and he let me stay on his couch all the time. His last name was Bissell. Okay. I don't know if he's connected to the vacuums, but he told me his dad sat around and counted money all day. That's all his dad did. Okay. Uh, Another one, if you look at the cliff, if you ever Google the cliffs, La Jolla Shores cliffs, the largest house on the cliffs, on the 400-foot cliffs on La Jolla Shores, that house, the biggest house, well, the owner or the guy who was getting that house built had to move across the street from it with his daughters, and was his daughter and her daughter's best friend were my normal people that I hung out with every day. And I think because of taxes, they weren't able to buy the big house, and so they made another mansion that was just a little bit smaller with navel orange trees around their whole pool and everything across the street. Now another individual I was living with, he was a adopted kid from Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, we used to watch City of God like all the time. Well, badass movie by the way. Well, anyway, his adopted father was a worldwide gems dealer, and his father also had, I mean, like talking like money. Um, so I'm a street kid. How am I brushing elbows with all these people? You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense, you know? Because I've seen all the other street kids, and the other street kids are not brushing elbows with people like this. How did this happen? Um, and there was another one where there was a female that I got passed off from that lived in the same apartment complex, and this female was she was a medical biller, and I also learned how to do medical billing and put in the 25 indicators and the codes and all the medical codes for data entry and stuff because I used to help her do it. And she was worked for her family. Her uncle was a doctor, a rheumatology doctor, a hand arthritis doctor for a huge medical firm out in LA that did it for celebrities and shit. So were they using me to do tax shit? And there was other shit too, but it's too crazy. I'm not gonna mention it because it would jeopardize my safety on all the other cases that were out there. Um, but yeah. So now, and also too, Dennis Gordon was under investigation, and he had to use in the prior years, and he had to use specific payroll companies because of taxes. Okay, David Brotzman, the evil landlord I just moved out of, he was evading taxes every single way, shape, and form. When I lived out in Texas before I got moved to East Texas, I worked for a company called ATF Finex, Paymax. It was a company. It was a what's called a factoring company. And a factoring company is a company where it's a company where we give payday advances and we advance payment to truckers because the logistics company, when you take a load from point A to point B, some logistics companies won't pay you for 30 days to make sure that everything was delivered clean and on time and everything's good. So we come in, check the paperwork, and give them money. And they had all sorts of shit wrong with their accounting. So, could I have been doing investigations? And now, if you even go back in my family line, my father, who is now an airline pilot, he when he originally went to college, he went to the School of Cool, Embry-Riddle, out in Sarasota, Florida. But he only got his bachelor's degree. He didn't have enough money. He never had enough money to get his pilot's licenses. But when I was born and we moved back, I was born in Daytona Beach, Florida, right over the third turn of Daytona 500 racetrack, Halifax Hospital, I believe it's called. I could be, it is Halifax Hospital. Well, when we moved back, my father was slowly accumulating his hours in single engine and multi-engine aircrafts. Well, turns out my grandparents that live out, my father's parents that live in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, their neighbor flies for Leona Helmsley, yet another person who was, they call her the Queen of Mean. She had her own private 727, and she was under she went to the feds for tax evasion, and they were still investigating her. Now my father became her pilot. Randomly. They paid for him to go to school. And in 3 weeks later, he was her pilot. So all you people out there who think you're going to get over on me, I would think again. I'm just saying. Okay? Now, I'm going to go into some other stuff, but I'm going to stop this video here. And I'm sorry I lost my cool in the beginning, but Northampton County Probation Office, I could tell they've been doing it for so long to me, for over 2 years. I can tell the actual people who are doing it. And it was Matthewson Juan, my probation officer. He's pissed off because he might get fired because of what he did. We have him. You guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm on a telepathic network, and the government can monitor anything that comes in and out of my mind through my ears or my dialogue wirelessly. And they could even pull my vision up on a fucking TV screen. So, screw everyone who tried to manipulate me.